main one, which is this one. Stay as a participant. My speaker off. Just trying to let this boot up and we'll be ready to rock and roll. It is moving a little bit slow. I'm going to assume that it's working, so I'm going to suppress this. Let's go ahead and share my screen. Start the broadcast. Turn off this background noise. So I intend to not use my microphone today. So if you want to use your audio, you can optimize the video. And we'll start off here with our morning announcements, vital information for your everyday life. Lord Beth Denberg, right? Speaking of Lord Beth Denberg, did you get a chance to see Quiet on the Set on HBO? Man, that series is intense, man. When you think about what people have gone through, man, it's just it's unimaginable that a human can do certain things to another human. It's beyond me. But that's the realm we live in, and that's what we have to navigate that until things change. Let me see. So today we're going to be wrapping up the first full week of lecture, right? So I think on Monday we went through as much of section 1.1 together as we can as far as the lecture is concerned. So then today the intent is to try to go through as many of the corresponding homework questions. So if you have specific questions, now is a good time to ask them. As we kind of go through the content for today, if you see a question, you can use the Ask My Instructor, and I'll pull it up, and it'll show your specific question with your numbers, right? So if you want us to work on your specific question together, use the Ask My Instructor, and it'll pull up. If you have a question, feel free to either unmute yourself or type it in either the chat or the Q&A. I am monitoring the Q&A in the chat. Also, be aware that this session is being live streamed to my YouTube channel. So you should be able to find a copy on my channel in the Fall 2024 playlist. And attendance is automatically being recorded. Okay. Okay, so I can't think of anything else. Let's go ahead and hop to Pearson. Okay. And this is our 9 a.m. Can I change these around? It would be nice. There we go. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we'll hop into the 9 a.m. if the technology decides to be cooperative today. Okay, I see a question. Let's see. For the Alex, is it like a class scope or to join the lab? No, so Alex is it's like a separate class altogether. All right, so we're doing what we're doing together for our main component, and the lab is facilitated by my colleague, Dr. Lamar. And so the way you gain access to that information when you log into Blackboard, before you open up the main folder for our course, on the left-hand panel, or even if you do open up that main folder, but on the left-hand panel, you're going to see a link in that burgundy left-hand toolbar. You're going to see a link that says Alex Lab, yada, yada. It's going to say Alex on there. So you click on that link and get in contact with Dr. Lamar and follow her instructions. I want to say the lab starts this week. She has specific instructions. So each of you just basically follow her instructions, do what she says to do. And at the midterm and the final, she'll give me a grade for each of you. And I'm going to incorporate that into your overall grade. The lab component counts for 10% of your overall grade. It's a good question. Let me see. Multiple times through the Zoom code, her syllabus, and it never worked. Yeah, you have to reach out to her. Make sure that you're using the right one. Make sure you have the right time as well. Check her announcements. You just got to reach out. That's something that's separate from what we're doing. The only real connection that we have is basically she's filling in content, and she gives me a grade for each of you at the midterm and the final. But otherwise, it's in that syllabus. So when her email, like when you log into Blackboard and you click on that link that says Alex Lab, her contact information is there. So emailing is good. If she has a phone number and or office hours, try to call her. That's usually, if you can talk to your professor, that's the best. That's why I went on and created that office cell phone number, right? So these are good questions. Again, feel free to type your question either in the chat or the Q&A. Also, feel free to unmute yourself because I'm not using my microphone today. And let's try to get through some of these questions, as many as we can, right? So let me see. And what I like to do, I like to jump around at random. So I use a RNG, a random number generator. Let me see. Give me a random number between 1 and 20. So I used to use Siri and Google, but they act crazy. So let's start off with question number 16. Okay. Start with question 16. Okay, I'm gonna minimize this and let me zoom in a little bit just to make it as big as possible. I think that's decent. Okay. I think it's okay. So find the standard form of the equation of a circle that satisfies the given conditions and graph the equation. So I want to say that the standard form of the equation of the circle is x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared equal to r squared, right? So, and if that's not right, we'll adjust. Actually, I was about to like write it out manually, but it looks like we have everything that we need. So I'll take some notes here. Let me zoom out just a little bit. Okay, that's a little bit better. Okay, hopefully this works. Okay, so I think just a moment ago we said what the standard form of equation of a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k quantity squared equals r squared. So then what we're going to do is basically fill in the corresponding components. Okay, and I'm just taking my notes here, and before I submit it, I'm going to remove the necessary components. All right. Let me see. I wasn't in this class. If I submitted assignments due last week. Okay. So when it comes to our assignments, the assignments have an automatic extension built into them. And so basically there's a late penalty, which is nominal. It's practically nothing. I had to penalize something, so I did the least amount that I was comfortable with. So there's only a 5% late penalty. So if you submit any assignment late, you can still earn up to 95%. Obviously, you don't want to fall into the habit of procrastinating and submitting assignments late. Things tend to happen, especially as we get closer to midterm and the final. Like if you procrastinate, which happens periodically, some students just decide to wait, and more power to you. And sometimes it works, many times it doesn't. But as we get closer to the midterm and the final, the server on Pearson becomes more and more unreliable because basically there are students worldwide logging in all at the same time trying to submit their final assignments, and then it tends to crash and become unreliable. So then it's like, the midterm is not that big a deal because we still have all the way to the end of the semester, but the closer we get to the final exam and that hard deadline at the end, you want to try to be finished with your assignments as early as possible. You don't want to be waiting to that last minute because it will become unreliable. You're going to log in and you're going to be like, freak, it's not working. And then through no fault of your own, you're going to miss the hard deadline, right? So try to do your best to try to be punctual as best you can. But again, all of our assignments have an automatic extension built into them. Also be aware that all of our assignments, we get unlimited attempts and the system is set to take our highest score. Okay, so you don't have to worry about it. It's pretty much automated. You have access to all homework and quizzes right now, and then the exams have like staggered scheduled release later on. So basically every 3 sections we have an exam. Do we have Pearson assignments? Yeah. Well, actually last week was like the orientation. So like the first assignment, but I don't think I've made anything due just yet. Like, because normally the first set of assignments would be due this upcoming Monday, but I want to say that this upcoming Monday is Labor Day. So it's a holiday, so the school is closed. So I pushed the first set of assignments back another week. So I think you still have a little bit of time on these first few assignments. So again, the due date is next to each assignment. So, you'll see that there. Okay, the syllabus email to me just said to do Alex. So that syllabus was just for the lab. That was something separate, right? So again, it's really 2 classes that are somewhat linked together. We have our own syllabus. You can find it on Blackboard. On the left-hand panel, it'll say syllabus. The syllabus for Alex is something separate, right? So that's for the lab. Ours is separate. So you have to, and if you need to go back, you can find our orientation video on my YouTube channel. The link for my YouTube channel is on Blackboard, or you can just do a search for Beautiful Mind Phifer, and then go to my playlist. And there's two main playlists that you need: one for college algebra, the full lectures, and then one for the fall of 2024. And so between those two links, you'll have everything that you need. Let me see what else. Okay, right. So I know there was a little confusion there. I didn't realize that she did that until you guys reported it to me, which is nothing wrong, but just trying to minimize confusion, right? Okay, so let's try to wrap this one up. Let's plug in. Let me see. So this is our first real assignment. We haven't been assigned anything else. So again, I've already assigned all the homework and quizzes for the entire semester. So when you log into Blackboard, when you log into My Math Lab and you've gained full access, you'll see all the homework and quizzes for the entire semester. Our rhythm, we're pretty much going to be going through one section every week, right? So last week was just orientation. This week is 1.1. Next week is 1.2, so on and so on and so on, right? Yeah, so again, the due dates are next to it. I'm pretty sure I made those first few assignments. Let me check now. Yeah, maybe not. Oh. Well, even though they're due, again, it's only a 5% late penalty, which is practically nothing. Did I lose my page? Dark on it. I closed the thing I didn't want to close. Okay, well, that's okay. I think we were working on 16, so we'll just work on another 16 because we didn't get all the way into it yet. So yeah, so the due dates are there. I didn't adjust for whatchamacallit, but for the Labor Day. But again, the late penalty is nominal. You pretty much have all semester to get this stuff in. If you're like, because it's 5% on this homework assignment, is the points are so small. I'm telling you, it doesn't even affect anything. But if you're that close between a letter grade, I would just do something to kind of put you over there. I'm not gonna like shaft somebody that's a fraction of a point from a letter grade. I'm just not gonna do that, right? So you don't have to stress. Just take action, right? And get started. Okay. So let's backtrack again. Standard form of equation of a circle, we said x minus h squared. Let me make sure I'm thinking about this proper. Plus y minus k. Nope, that's not a k. Quantity squared equals r squared. Okay. And then I like to do something like this. Okay, so then the next part. So now let's plug in what we're given. Now we're given the center, so that's our h and our k. So then x minus -1 becomes x plus 1. Okay, plus y minus 0, which is going to be y squared. The equation, okay, and then equals, and the radius is 5, so there's going to be 25. R squared, 5 squared is going to be 25, okay? So let me get rid of this extra stuff, get rid of my notes. Okay, so when it comes to the access code for Pearson, hopefully you're not looking for the question ID. There's 2 steps you have to do. To gain full access to our assignments, the first thing is you have to log into Blackboard, open up a main folder for our course, and then you're going to see something that says Access Pearson All Assignments. You click on that link that says Access Pearson All Assignments, follow the prompts, register as a student using your Morehouse credentials, and then eventually you're going to be prompted for payment, right? So that's the other part, is that you have to purchase full access. It costs right at about $120. I think you'll see 2 options. One option is a subscription. You don't need that. You really only need the one-time payment for like $120. It gives you full access. Another thing I want you to be aware of, if you have used My Math Lab before and your previous professor used the exact same book as this one, then as long as you log in with your Morehouse credentials, you don't have to purchase access again. We use this book in My Math Lab for 3 courses: College Algebra 1, College Algebra 2, and Pre-Calculus. So the idea or the goal is that when you purchase it in this course, you should be able to use it for at least 3 other math courses, right? I want to say that there should have been like 2 options where one was the more expensive one was $150. Maybe they've gone up in price. Maybe I'm getting it wrong. I don't know, because I don't see what you guys see. It used to be $120. Maybe it's not $120 anymore. Some students said that there were like 2 options or whatever, but so I know it's somewhere between $120 to $150. It should just be a one-time payment without, there should be no monthly subscription or anything like that. You don't need any monthly subscription. It's just a one-time payment. And again, I'm under the impression it should be 120, but you know. So it's either 120 or 150. Okay, so let's see, how do we do? I'm gonna submit this one. Okay. All right. Okay, graph the equation of the circle. So the center is -1, 0, so it can't be A. It can't be D because those centers are in the wrong location. It could be C. And we said the radius is 5. Ooh. Yeah, so it can't be C because I think C has the wrong radius. The radius for C looks like it's 4 or 3 point something. 1, 2, maybe 2 point something. So I'm just gonna go with B. Now I don't know why B looks weird like that, but I basically did process of elimination. Let's do another random generate. Let's go to question 7. So if this was what, 16, let's just go with this right here. Okay, so we're asked to graph the equation by plotting points, letting x be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so that moves it left by 5 units, right? So I'm thinking B. Okay, so let's see. When x is what, 1, y should be what, 4. Wait a minute. It can't be B. When x is 5, okay? So then let's try A, okay? So when x is 1, y is what, 4? 1, 2. I think that's about right. When x is 2, let's zoom in some. When x is 2, 5 minus 2 is 3. That's correct. When x is 3, we get 2. All right. So if we let x be these values and find the corresponding y's and plot the points, we get the graph of A. That's going to be to the right of 5. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Okay. Can we go over 2 and 5? Oh, question 2 and question 5. Okay. So let's go to question 2. I thought you meant like a manipulation on the graph. Find the distance between these points and the coordinates of the midpoint. Okay. Simplify your answer. Okay. So I'm gonna attempt to take my notes here. If I need more space, I'll switch over to my note taker. So I think when we on Monday, we talked about the distance formula, right? I think we derived it. We showed where the formula came from through use of the Pythagorean theorem. So let's see if we can. This is an application of the distance formula. So let me see. The distance is going to be equal to square root. I think we said x sub 2 minus x sub 1 squared plus y sub 2 minus y sub 1 quantity squared. Okay, and that's basically our distance formula, right? So then we want to plug in the corresponding components, right? It would be a little bit more nice if I wrote it out, but we're just going to kind of keep working here. So this is going to be the same as the square root. Now, what's our x2, right? What's our x2? Normally, when I get ordered pairs like this, I like to label them x1, y1, x2, y2, as outlined in my recording. So if we say x2 minus x1, that's going to be 4 minus 4 squared plus y2 minus y1 is going to be what? 7 minus 4. So 7 minus 4 quantity squared. Okay. So then if we keep going, 4 minus 4 is 0. 0 squared is 0. 0 plus anything is anything, or 0 plus a number is that number. 7 minus 4 is what? 3. 3 squared is 9. So then the square root of 9 is ultimately 3. Okay. So this distance, we ended up getting 3. Again, if anything isn't clear, feel free to either unmute yourself or type in the chat or type in the Q&A, and we can be sure to take care of you. Okay. So when I did it just now, this is what I got. Okay. So again, we were just using a distance formula there. And then with the midpoint, I think we mentioned in class that the midpoint is what the average of the x's comma average of the y's, right? So in the formula, that would be, the numerator is going to be what? X of 1 plus x of 2 over 2. Right, that's the average of our x's because we have two different x values. And then the next part is the average nope. How can I get this in there? Nope. That's what I was trying to avoid. I need a space. I guess that works. Okay. So we said x of 2 minus x of 1. And I'm just taking notes for like instructional purposes. So not minus, but plus, right? Because we're doing average. That's fine. The order is okay. Let me do the right order so I can minimize confusion. Make that a 1 and make this a 2. Okay. So the average of our x's, comma, average of our y's. So then y sub 1 plus y sub 2 over 2. Okay. So that's the midpoint formula, how to find a midpoint between any 2 points. Okay. So then if we plug in our corresponding components, I think here, space, comma, okay. Darn it. Can I just put a comma here? That would be nice. Backspace. There we go. Now we're cooking with grease, right? So x1 plus x2. So that's 4 plus 4. That's going to be, here, I'll write it like this. 4 plus 4 divided by 2. And then y1 plus y2. Okay, we'll do 19 after number 5. What is that? 7 and 4 is what, 11? So that's going to be, or 4 plus 7 over 2. Okay. So then if we wrap this up, 8 divided by 2 is 4. 11 divided by 2, it says type in order pair, use integers or decimals. So 11 divided by 2 is going to be what? 5.5, right? So 5.5, okay? Because it says to do a decimal instead of fractions. So we're going to get rid of all these notes and cross our fingers. God is good, okay? All right, if that was question 2, 3, 4, let's go to question 5 because I know that was requested. That's okay. Okay. I'll do this real quick. So far we haven't like written anything manually, but I think we're Gucci. And I see the chat, so I think we're good there. Okay. Give me just a moment. And again, if you do have questions, feel free to unmute yourself to get my attention and we can talk about it. So this one asks us to identify the triangle PQR as isosceles, equilateral. Yes.
I'm about to get the textbook like online using the bookstore voucher. Should I get the one that's like pre-calculus essentials, loose pages with my math lab access card, or should I just get the 4th edition standalone access card?
Whichever is your prerogative. Some students like to have a physical hard copy book. You don't necessarily have to have that. The main thing that you need is access to My Math Lab. So it sounds like they both come with My Math Lab access. So it's just whichever you like.
All right. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So this one, we're trying to identify this triangle as either isosceles, equilateral, a right triangle, or a scalene. So essentially what we're doing here, we're doing the distance formula 3 times. I think I'm going to write this one out because I feel like we kind of need some space. It would be nice if I can like suppress that. How do I get rid of that? If I go like this, will that work? Yeah, it's okay. So I'm coming right back. Darn it. What if I do this? Just want to refresh. Come on. Yeah, our time is precious. We only got like, wait a minute. Was this supposed to be what, question 5? Yeah, let's go back to 5. Darn it, good thing it's still there. Okay, whatever. I had to let it go. Okay, so let me get a copy of this, and we'll work over to the in our handwritten portion. So I can get rid of all of this. I'll keep all of that. And I really don't need that either. I'll just take this. Okay. I'm gonna hit done, copy and delete. The top here. Paste. That's decent. I think I can work with that. Why is it 22? Oh, cut. Why are there 22 pages? Okay. Let's try this again. Paste. All right, that's decent. All right, so here's a copy of that question, right? Again, and you can actually use this note-taking app. This is called Notability, right? It's just a note-taking app. I'm working on an iPad. Where is my pen? Here it is. So I'm working on an iPad. So if you want to use it, it's just free marketing for these guys. Okay. So basically, again, what we're doing here is a distance formula. So the recommendation is every time we use a formula, write the formula down, right? So if we're going to do the distance formula, I'll just leave it as the distance equals the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Okay, so that's the distance formula. So then personally, whenever I have like multiple ordered pairs, I like to just automatically label them. Since we have three, we're gonna have a third set, but I'll usually go like x1, y1, x2, y2, and a third one for x3, y3, right? So we have three different x's, three different y's, okay? So then, for instance, if I'm doing the distance between P and Q, that's going to be, so my x2 is what, 14. My x1 is 2. My y2 is 1. My y1 is 1. Okay. So that one's not too bad because we got that 0 in there. 14 minus 2 is 12. So that's like the square root of 12. I think I'm going to just leave it as a square root of 12 for right now. Okay. All right, so we did PQ. Let's go ahead and do PR, the distance between P and R. Okay. So let me see now I'm going to do my x3. So I'm going to say 8 minus 2 squared plus 4 minus 1 squared. 8 minus 2 is 6 squared is what, 36. 4 minus 1 is 3 squared is 9. So 45, square root of 45. I'm just going to leave it as a square root of 45 right now. Keep in mind that 45 is 9 times 5, but for right now, I'm just going to leave it as is. And then we need to do one more. We did PQ, we did PR, now we need to do QR. So the distance between Q and R. Okay. So then I'm going to say what? 8 minus 14 squared plus 4 minus 1 squared. And let's simplify. That's what, 6, so that's 36 plus 9, right? And I think we get the same thing, right? So notice that two of the sides are the same and one side is different. So then hopefully it's clear as to which, there's one more test we actually need to do. So this tells us that our triangle is isosceles. We need to do an additional test to see whether it's a right triangle or not, right? So what we can do is the Pythagorean theorem, all right? So if we're going to use Pythagorean theorem, that's a squared plus b squared equals c squared, okay? The shorter ones, those can't be the longer ones, right? I mean, they could be. Okay, so the 12 looks like it's the shortest leg. So more than likely, this is not right. It's not a right triangle. Yeah, I don't think it can be. If the other leg was longer, I think we might have a chance. But if we try to plug these in the Pythagorean theorem, because the 12 is not the longest side. If that were the longest side, we might have a chance, but it's not going to satisfy the Pythagorean theorem. If you try to plug it in, it won't work, right? Even if you move it around, it's just not going to work. Because remember, we got to take the sum of the squares of the shorter legs. And the 45s, those are our longer legs. So then it's not really fitting into the, so it's not a right triangle. It's just small, is the result there, right? Okay. So we got that this guy is isosceles. So let's do our final check. Okay. So that was good. Is it a right triangle? We're going to say no, because it basically fails. If you basically plug in those numbers into the Pythagorean theorem, it fails, right? Okay, so that was actually a good one. We got a solid 20 minutes. Let's hop to question 19 because it was requested. I think it's this one. Okay. The center and the radius of the circle. So this was given us to, and I think it's called the general form. Okay, so this is a good question because, so for this question, we have to use this technique called completing the square. It's a factoring technique, right? So that's one of the concepts that's kind of expected to come out in like the lab. Factoring is one of those things that we don't go over exclusively in this course. That's something that's from like intermediate algebra. If you need more practice on factoring, one, it should come out in the lab. Two, in Blackboard, once you open up our main folder, click on the link that says box link daily notes. And once you get into the box links, at the bottom, you're going to see a link that says handouts. Inside that handouts link or folder, I have two documents for factoring. One is a summary of all the factoring scenarios we'll come across. And then the other is a chapter devoted to all the factoring scenarios we'll come across. All right. So one is a one-page summary. The other is an entire chapter. So if you need to bone up on factoring, that stuff is available in the box link that you would access through Blackboard. Okay. So let's try to do a demo on completing the square with this guy, because I know that's something that, it's kind of like use it or lose it. And the average person doesn't use this stuff every day, right? We're only having to use it for here. This is one of my qualms with our structure. Like, I really feel like I need to get into some position where I can like do education reform, because like I feel like it's not fair, and I don't think that copy and delete. I don't think everybody should be studying this, because this isn't for everybody. You kind of have to. This is like, it takes a special kind of person to take the time to go through this. But when you know this stuff and you apply it, like if you were an architect, an engineer, anybody that's like creating and building, that's where this really comes out. But if you're not, and even if you are a creator and you don't know this, it's still okay. But if you know this stuff, it does give you an edge. But this isn't for everybody, right? That's just how I feel. So it's like, if it were up to me, I don't know if you've seen this movie called Accepted, but I would build it kind of like that, where okay, I would take each person. What do you like to study? Okay, we're gonna build a custom curriculum for you to help you on that path. If it involves mathematics, so be it. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. Like, that's what I would do. I know I would be losing no money, but I'd rather, strengthen the community over getting paid. Like, because if the community is strong, then I'm going to be taken care of. Versus if I'm getting paid, now you got this whole system where people are left out in the cold. People are starting to doubt themselves and second guess themselves, and it's just not worth it. I feel like it's much better if you strengthen as many people as possible, and then eventually it comes back to you. Because if you take care of enough people, you will be taken care of. So that's if I had control over this. Right now, I'm just playing the game, being your facilitator, trying to do what I can do to try to help as many people as I can. So anyway, so now here, what it takes is we're going to do a demo on completing the square. Right. So let me start by getting a copy of the original. So we're start. This is fine. So we got this x squared, and I'm not feeling that. Give me just a moment. I'm gonna have to check that later. Where's my options? Here it is. It's over here. That's good. I think I'll change this one up. No, I'll change this one. I'll make it 5. There we go. That's a little bit better. Okay. So we have x squared plus y squared minus 10x plus 2y plus 22 equals 0, right? So the first thing is we need to group like terms, okay? And I'm going to move the 22 to the other side. The goal is we're trying to transform this guy into the standard form of the equation of a circle. So we're going to transform it into this x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equal to r squared. We're transforming it into this form, okay? So I'm going to group my like terms. So we got like our x and this guy, style. Those go together. This with this, go green, they go together. And the 22, I'm going to move to the other side. Okay. So then we'll have x squared minus 10x. I'm gonna leave some space a little bit. And then we have plus y squared plus 2y. I'm going to leave a little bit more space as well there. And then this is going to equal, now does this help us? I think so. We get a negative 22, okay? So now completing the square, again, that's a factoring technique. It wouldn't hurt to do a YouTube search on how to complete the square. One of the first tenets of completing the square is that the leading coefficient has to be a 1, right? And so we're basically doing completing the square twice. We got lucky that our leading coefficient is a 1 already in both cases. So that drastically helped us out. So then completing the square step comes in the form of, we're going to say plus b over 2 quantity squared. What we do to one side, we do to the other. So we got to do it over here as well. And same thing here. It's going to be another b over 2 squared. It's not, I should use a different letter, but it's the same concept, right? So in this case, it's going to be plus negative 10 over 2 squared. We got to do it here as well. Negative 10 over 2 squared, okay? And then the next part is going to be what? Our b is 2. So we're going to say plus 2 over 2 squared. Plus 2 over 2 squared. Again, the b came from here. B came from here. Okay? So that's the hardest part of completing the square, right? So now we're ready to kind of simplify things. I'm just going to bring down this part, bring this down. Negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. Negative 5 squared is a positive 25. So that's plus 25. That means this guy over here is also going to be plus 25. Okay. I'm just bringing down the green part for now. This other purple part is what? 1. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 squared is 1. So that means this guy over here is 1 as well. Okay. Right. So with the purple, you know, when we add what we do to one side, we do to the other, we're essentially adding 0. So it doesn't change the final answer. It just changes the form into something that we can use. All right. Okay. So now completing the square, if we consider the first 3 terms and factor just the first 3, right, we can factor those guys. I think it's x minus 5 squared, right? Okay. And then the next set factors into, looks like a y plus 1 squared. And then on the right-hand side, that's a 4. So that's 2 squared, right? So again, that takes effort. This is why, you know, I feel like GroupMe is important. I feel like the tutoring is important. Making use of the Ask My Instructor is important. You know, you kind of have to keep going around and keep trying different techniques until you can find something that works for you. Do the best you can on your own. Try to link up with a classmate. If you can't resonate with anybody, then try linking up with a tutor, either a Morehouse tutor or a private tutor. If that doesn't work, then you try me. If that doesn't work, then, you know, you got to keep trying. Try the internet, you got to try something else. You just got to keep trying until you find something that works for you. Okay, so then in this form, this is basically saying that the center of the circle is 5, comma negative 1, and the radius is 2. Okay. All right. Maybe we can do one more. I see the time. We got 5 minutes. 5, negative 1, and 2. Let's see if that works. 5, negative 1, and 2. So that was a good question. Okay. And the radius we got was 2. Okay. So yeah, that one was intense. Yeah. It's involved sometimes. Now, you know, if you're working through this and you just feel overwhelmed or intimidated, just put a pin in it and come back to it later. Like, do everything else And then when you're fresh, when your mind is fresh, maybe when you first wake up or something, attempt something like this. Also, you have the view an example that explains it, so you can see the way the book explains it. We have a direct link into the e-textbook, so it's a digital copy of the book. The Ask My Instructor is going to take a screenshot of your question and open up an email window, and then you can ask me, and I'll do the best I can, because sometimes it's like my explanations are just like too much, right? That's why I kind of encourage you to do the other order where you do what you can on your own, because sometimes it's unavoidable. Like sometimes it's just this long string of simple ideas, right? And it's unavoidable. But you do the best you can on your own, do the best you can with your classmates, do the best you can with the tutor. Then when I give the same presentation, more often than not, that's when it starts to click. But if I give you a presentation like that and you haven't been frustrated for a little bit, then you're going to be more frustrated and it's not going to click, right? So that's generally how that goes. Let's take a look at question 11. Let's go like this, right here. Okay. So this one asks us to, without sketching the graph, find the x-intercept and y-intercept. So I usually like to do the y-intercept first, 17. Okay, I think this one is quick. X-intercept, if we set y to 0, so I'm going to take some notes here. If we set y to 0 and solve, it looks like we need to try to factor that guy, or we can use a quadratic formula. Let's see, can we factor this guy into something of this form? Where we had x and x, the signs should be opposite, so one should be plus and one should be minus. We're looking for two numbers that multiply to give us -8 and add to give us 2. Is that -4 and 2? Does that work? I think so. Right? 2 times -4 is -8. 2 plus -4 is -2. So then from here, our x-intercepts would be -2 and 4. All right, let's try -2 and 4. Okay, -2, 4. Okay. And then the y-intercept, if we set x to 0, so that's quick. If we set x to 0, then you should see quickly that y equals -8. So we're just going to put -8. Okay. There was a request for 17. This is going to be our last one for the day. We're out of time, so this is the last one. Find the equation for a circle with that center tangent touching at one point to the y-axis. Let me think about this. With the center of this, okay. So if the center, that's our h comma k. So it needs to be what? X plus 2 squared plus y minus 7 squared. So that at least eliminates c. And then if we're at -2, 7, and it needs to touch the y-axis. So that means our radius is what, 2? If the radius is 2, that means the right-hand side needs to be 4. And we said it's not c, so that means it should be d. Process of elimination. Let's recap that one, because I felt like that was a little fast. So we took the center of the circle, h comma k. So if we say x minus h, that's going to be x minus a -2. X minus -2 becomes x plus 2. And then it's going to be y minus 7. So that canceled out c, right? Because c was the only one that had the wrong form as far as the left-hand side. So then if the center of the circle is at the ordered pair, or is at the point -2, 7, and our circle like basically grays, it gently touches the y-axis. So then that means that the radius of our circle needs to be 2. If we're going from the center and the most direct path to the y-axis, the shortest distance, that's going to be a distance of 2. So that means the radius of the circle is 2. So that means the right-hand side needs to be 2 squared, which is r squared is a 4. So then we already eliminated c, so then that one made it d. Are there any other burning questions before we go our separate ways, right? So, this was a demo on Pearson. Again, when you're on your own, I would encourage you to try the view and example. What the view and example does, it gives you the same question with different numbers, and it explains it. It walks through all the details. If the viewing example isn't serving you, then maybe you could find a classmate that you can link up with and work on this stuff together. I'm fine with you working on this stuff together. And my request is just each of you try to learn as much as you can. Don't not learn anything because that's you're going to be wasting your time if you do that. And then link up with the tutor. I'm okay if you go line by line with the tutor, that's fine. Or make use of my office hours like right after class. Let me see. Okay, I think you guys are good. So we did 19 and 17. If there aren't any burning questions, we're actually going to go ahead and end the session here. I'll go ahead and make a copy of what I was writing available. So I'll send it to the box. And that is not the right folder if it loads. Come on. Are you going to take your time today? All right, gentlemen. So, okay, there we go. Hang on. Fall, traditional. Come on, this. We'll do notes. Update it daily, and it should go here. Dang, I didn't load the 3 p.m. I don't need to load the 3 p.m. Okay, let me go back and load that. Cancel. Let me go ahead and let you guys go. If there aren't any burning questions, wait a minute. So there is a group me. So, you might want to ask your peers now. If somebody has that link, go ahead and make it available. Does this homework come with Pearson or is there anywhere else to find this? No, it's only in Pearson. Right. So you do have to purchase access because that's how we're going to be doing our grading. This is homework, quizzes, and exams for the entire semester. Not the orientation, but this one. So let me go ahead and make a copy of this available. Share, send it to box. If there aren't any other burning questions, I'm going to release you guys. We're going to go ahead and end the session here. And we'll meet back on Wednesday to work on the next section. So we'll be working on section 1.2. It's a good idea to just go ahead and watch my pre-recorded lecture for 2. Take notes if you're in class, write down questions, and go ahead and complete that homework and quiz as well. So, the further you can get ahead, the better. And then we can just use class time for review and things of that nature. I think there's some requests for group me there. So hopefully you guys are working that. Does somebody else have a question? Okay, there's another.
Yeah.
One second. So there is a question in the chat that says the labs are only on Wednesdays, ? I only have this class Monday and Wednesday. So for us, we meet Monday and Wednesday. The lab, you have to ask Dr. Lamar when it's offered and you got to get those instructions from Dr. Lamar about the lab. All right, go ahead. There was another question.
So for the homework and things like the assignments, is there a due date on Pearson like that we know? Because I haven't been able to purchase the book yet, but I'm doing it today.
Yeah, the due date is next to each assignment, but those are really like soft dates. There's an automatic extension built into all assignments, and there's only a 5% late penalty. So, and like especially on something like a homework, 5% on a homework is practically nothing. But if you submit any assignment late, you can still earn up to 95%. Plus, unlimited attempts on all assignments, and the system is set to take your highest score. So as long as you're getting started today and you're on track from here going forward, you'll be fine.
All right, and another thing, I had to join the Zoom call a little bit late because my computer wasn't allowing me to join like it usually does.
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. As long as you're here for most of the class and just going forward, maybe try to get into the Zoom call maybe 5 or 10 minutes.
2 minutes earlier. Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's no worries. Yeah, so you're good.
All right, and last one. All the lectures and things are on YouTube, right?
Okay, so yes, that yeah. Give me just a moment. Share. Where is it? Box. Give me just a moment.
Isn't it Beautiful Mind Phifer?
That is correct. Okay, so yeah, that's a good question. Yes, I want to say yes. So there's 2 main playlists that you need to access my YouTube. Either do a search for Beautiful Mind Phifer, or if you go into Blackboard and open up that main folder, you're going to see a link that says Professor Phifer's YouTube channel, right? You can use that link. And so there's 2 playlists that you basically want to have access to from my YouTube. One playlist is like for the fall of 24. So as we have these sessions, I try to update that playlist with these live sessions. But then also the other one is like College Algebra 1, all pre-recorded lectures. So those lectures are like for each section. Like this week, we were working on section 1.1. There's a full lecture recording available that you can watch at your leisure.
Mm.
But it's the same stuff that I would say if we were live, the same examples, same numbers and everything.
Got you.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Yep. These are good questions. Also, I want to say this upcoming Monday is a holiday. It's Labor Day. So if it's Labor Day, we're not going to meet, right? And so just kind of check the due dates for everything. I might change the due dates if I can. I think I'm gonna go ahead and try to change them now. Are there any other burning questions before we get off the?
If we don't meet on a Monday, will we meet on the Friday or no?
Say that one more again.
If we don't meet on the Monday, will we meet on the Friday?
No, we don't meet Friday. It's just Monday and Wednesday. So if Monday's a holiday, we'll skip it. We'll meet on Wednesday, and then that's it.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. Any other burning questions? So I think what I'm gonna do is these first few assignments, I want to push them back by a week just because of the holiday. Or did I push? Oh, I pushed it back by a couple of days. Okay, that's fine. A couple of days is fine. So instead of it due Monday, I pushed it back by a couple of days. That's okay. Yeah, okay, I'm fine with that. And again, it's a nominal late penalty, so as long as you get everything submitted by the end of the semester, you'll be fine. All right, gentlemen. Any other burning questions? Going once, going twice. So I'll be updating attendance momentarily. Does everyone have an iPhone? Are you guys done with the chat before I close it out? I don't know. I guess I'll give it a few more minutes. A message group chat. Oh man, that's going to be intense. I mean, whatever. However you guys want to work that, that's on you guys. Okay. Oh, it's going to be wild trying to organize. How many? It's like at least 11 people here, and I know some people have left. But you know, all right, guys. Oh, I get it. I know. Look, more power to you. Just do what you got to do. I'm not mad at you. Like this is not my first rodeo. You know, it's okay. You good? Going once, going twice. All right. Let me see if I can stall anything else. So, all right, gentlemen. So have a good weekend, and we'll meet back on, I guess, Wednesday of next week. Enjoy your Labor Day and take care.